spectral, but black body is by definition it's is not directional. So it's a diffuse emitter. So because it's a diffuse emitter, it's not directional, but it has this lambda dependent and it has temperature dependent. So this is our emissivity, spectral directional emissivity. Okay, and we can also say that if we integrate this over the entire hemisphere, then we can get this emissivity, which is spectral but no more directional. So we know that when we want to integrate over entire hemisphere, we need to multiply it with, what is the factor?
Pi.
Pi.
Pi steradians.
Huh?
Pi steradians.
Steradian, but this is intensive in the projected area in that direction. So when we are integrating, we have to multiply it with
Sin theta.
Come with the entire thing. So whenever you
Instead sin theta cos theta d phi d theta.
Yeah, exactly. So cos theta, sin theta, d theta, d phi. So before you integrate, you have to multiply with cos theta, d theta, cos theta, d theta, sin theta, d phi. So this cos theta comes because of the projected area thing, and sin theta comes because of the solid angle to our azimuthal angle transmission. So that is what is this factor comes from. So if you are not sure where this comes from, just read that part where we discuss that how we get the hemispherical emissivity or hemispherical emissivity or any other quantity integrated over a hemisphere. And then this is integrated over theta equals to
0 to pi by 2.
0 to pi by 2, because theta I was wrong. So theta is the azimuth angle. So this is from the top, this is the theta. So this angle is theta. So this is the plane. So this is the projection here. So this is our theta. So this is theta equals to 0 to pi by 2. And phi is this direction angle. So phi equals to 0 to 2 pi. So divided by, again, this is integrated over this entire thing. I lambda t cos theta d theta sin theta d phi. Again, the same range. But this is not a function of theta, so this basically comes out. So this integration, whatever it gives, that factor comes in the bottom. Okay. So this is spectral emissivity. And if we say the total hemispherical emissivity, so that is basically the emission from the body, real body, divided by emission from the black body at a given temperature. And this is basically the again integration of this over lambda equals to 0 to infinity. So this belongs to, this doesn't belong to this expression, this belongs to this expression. Okay. So that is how we get the three different emissivities. And Absorptivity, similarly, we can write things for absorptivity. So absorptivity is also a quantity which varies with direction and lambda. So we can define alpha lambda theta equals to I lambda incident and part of the incident which is absorbed, which is lambda theta phi divided by I lambda incident lambda theta phi. Okay. So this I forgot to write the functionality here. The functionality here again, lambda theta phi. Spectral, directional, absorptivity. Okay. So we can have the same integration over this thing. So we can say that I absorbed, we can write that the total absorbed over the hemisphere. So we can say alpha lambda equals to integrate the total amount of radiation that is absorbed. That is basically alpha lambda theta times I lambda theta phi sin theta cos theta d theta d phi divided by this I lambda theta phi, again this hemispherical integration. All right. So this is alpha lambda, and again, if we integrate it with lambda, so we get the alpha. This thing integrated over lambda equals to 0 to infinity divided by this thing integrated over lambda equals to 0 to infinity. Okay. So note carefully these three quantities. One is alpha, which is lambda theta, that is spectral directional. Another is that quantity integrated over the hemisphere, so it remains spectral, but its directional feature is lost. Again, it is integrated over entire hemisphere and lambda, so it's the total quantity. So total this much energy is falling on the surface, and this fraction of it is getting absorbed. Same for emissivity. That for black body, this much in this lambda, this theta will emit, and this body is emitting this lambda and this theta, this much energy. And then it is integrated over hemisphere and integrated over this. Okay. It's fairly simple, not very complex. Now, the Kirchhoff's, what Kirchhoff's law to do with this is that, so it is known that this absorptivity, as I said, that many of the engineering surfaces we'll be talking about, those are opaque surfaces. So radiation falls on the surface and some portion is absorbed by the surface. And this is the radiation that is emitting by the surface, which is emissivity is the surface property. See, this lambda, this black body radiation is nothing to do with the surface. It's you give lambda, give temperature, you know the power. So the feature of surface is here. So feature of surface is here. So these both the quantities alpha lambda theta and epsilon lambda theta, both the quantities are properties of the surface. So some radiation is falling on the surface, and what fraction of it will be absorbed, that is determined by the surface molecules. Similarly, a surface is at a certain temperature, how much that will emit, that's also determined by the surface molecules, because this is electromagnetic radiation. Surface molecules vibrate their electronic structure, something vibrate in certain way and it emits energy. So may not be 100% correct, maybe more intricate physics are involved, but it's a some way of looking at it, at least from engineering perspective. So this alpha and lambda, so those are something to do with surface. And probably I told you at the very beginning that these electric wires that are running these high tension cables, so there is a lot of heat loss from there. And people are applying certain coating on that surface to change the heat loss. The emissivity, absorptivity, all these values will change. So this, you can change the emissivity, change the absorptivity by just putting a surface coating. So it's long known that this emissivity and absorptivity, those are surface properties. So anything you want to comment, you want to contest on this, that emissivity and absorptivity both are properties of the surface. Both are properties of the surface. And because both are properties of the surface, you can use a detailed analysis, experiment, etc. to show that alpha lambda theta equals to epsilon lambda theta. So this is what physics can prove. But this is too much restrictive for us, because we do not use the alpha and epsilon as a function of lambda or theta. In the previous example that we solved, you remember that we didn't give you epsilon lambda theta. All we gave is the epsilon as epsilon. That is, means that for the surface you take the total black body radiation from Stefan-Boltzmann law integrated over lambda at a given temperature, and then multiply it by 0.3 or 0.5 or 0.8 and see what is the radiation from the surface, emission from the surface. So for us, the most important quantity is epsilon. Similarly, for us, the most important quantity is alpha. So alpha and epsilon. So these are the important quantities for us, not these ones. So we ask the following question, that is this quantity equal, means that we can write alpha equals to epsilon? The answer is that no. But in general, no. But for certain conditions, you can do that. And it simplifies life a lot. And if that is not true, you have a lot of additional calculations. So for this undergraduate course, we'll assume that alpha equals to epsilon is valid for us, and this alpha equals to epsilon is Kirchhoff's law. And now there are some long expressions. I don't want to write those. Let me take screenshot and show you, and that will tell us that under what conditions we have this equality.
Sir,
Huh.
sir, how did we come to this expression like alpha is equal to epsilon?
No, we haven't come to it yet. I just declared that that happens under certain assumptions. So now I'll show you that what are the assumptions under which that happens. So we haven't shown it, and neither we proved it. Just I stated the Kirchhoff's law.
So for the spectral direction,
how spectral directional absorptivity equals to spectral directional emissivity? So why these two are equal? That's you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Easiest answer is that I do not know exactly. What I understand, it is this way that both are surface properties. So that way I have some way to justify that yes, these two may be equal. But if you say that there are so many surface properties, why they are not all equal, I also do not have an answer. So if you seek some answer, I think you can go some electromagnetic radiation stuff and see that what kind of properties are involved and why they are exactly same, or there are even some hidden assumptions there. But this is our premise that we'll take these as true for all surfaces, and they'll see that what additional assumptions we need to make to establish the equality of alpha and lambda. I'm just trying to, there are a bit longer. Got it. Okay. So first, you see that you are able to see this equation, right?
Yes, sir.
So the way I have just explained before, is I've written the expression for epsilon lambda and alpha lambda, and they have put an equal to with a question mark. That is it possible that these two are equal? So now tell me that under what condition these two can be equal. So easiest way that if alpha lambda theta and epsilon lambda theta don't have any theta dependence, of course then alpha lambda equals to epsilon lambda. That means the surfaces are diffused. So if a diffuse surface, that means that the surface properties are not a function of the angle from which radiation falls or angle from which radiation goes out. So that is easy to see that there is this is one of the ways that we can say that epsilon lambda equals to alpha lambda, because there is no theta dependence. So the theta, whether you write or do not write, doesn't matter. So that is called diffuse surfaces. So many engineering surfaces are approximately diffused. So if the surface is diffused, then this holds, equality holds. Okay. There is something else also, that the surface entirely need not to be diffused. For example, its emission may be a function of theta. But if the irradiation, if the irradiation is diffused, that means the radiation, that is incident radiation, that is falling equally from all sides. So surface may have some properties. Surface may have the epsilon, may have a function of theta, alpha may be a function of theta, but the radiation that is falling on the surface, if that is not a function of theta, what will happen is that we'll take this out of this integral and cancel. Now, because this equality holds, now you can see that left hand side and right hand sides are same. So there are, let me give you a little time this to sink. So I think you have clear that if I say that it's a diffuse surface, nothing is function of theta, alpha lambda equals to epsilon lambda. Agreed. Now the second thing I am showing or telling, that need not to be diffused. If surface need not to be diffused if the incident radiation then also okay. Just give it a time to think that there's nothing complicated. All is that this I lambda, I is not a function of theta, so it comes out of the integral, cancels, and because of epsilon lambda theta equals to alpha lambda theta, both integrals are equal. That's all. So that gives us epsilon lambda equals to alpha lambda. So surface may be diffused or incident radiation is diffused. Then this happens. Third thing, now let us become little bit greedy and we ask that epsilon. So let me also pull that from the text. So now let us ask that what happens here. So even if alpha epsilon, say suppose we got such a condition that epsilon lambda equals to alpha lambda. So under what conditions these two equality can exist? So which one is, what is the easiest condition?
Alpha lambda and epsilon lambda are independent of lambda.
Exactly, that's the easiest one. So that kind of surfaces are called gray surfaces. So they don't have any color. So that's why they called gray surfaces. So in addition to either diffuse surface or incident radiation diffused, if it's a gray surface, then also epsilon equals to alpha will hold. What else? There is another thing you can see in that expression that this equality will hold.
If E of lambda B is equal to G of lambda.
Again, just louder.
E lambda B is equal to G lambda, or it behaves like a black body.
So opposite. So G lambda equals to E lambda. That means the incident global radiation that comes from a black body. So if you are holding that surface irradiating by a black body, then also it will hold. But that is not happens for many cases. So black body radiation doesn't occur over a long wavelength. But for our case, we'll assume that we'll deal with diffused gray surfaces. So in the problem statement, if nothing is said, you can safely assume that the surface is diffused and gray. And for you, this epsilon and alpha equality holds, which is called Kirchhoff's law. Okay, done. So Kirchhoff's law is done. So, so these are the conditions under which you can assume epsilon equals to alpha. Okay. So next thing. So even if you forget everything, all this stuff, so all you have to remember for Kirchhoff's law is that Kirchhoff's law states that epsilon equals to alpha, and it's applicable for diffuse gray surfaces, nothing more. Okay. Now another thing we need to do before we start solving radiation problems, that is called view factor. So if I have a surface and I am standing here, I am not able to see what's on the surface. So I cannot see the surface. Even if I am standing here, say I am standing somewhere here. So, and something is blocking my vision here, some other surface is here. So I may be able to see only a part of the surface. So the surface may be extended till this, and something is blocking. So I can see a part of the surface, this part and this part. So the geometric arrangement of multiple surfaces determine that how much radiation from one surface reaches another surface. See, if I suppose I have one surface here, and this radiation goes to the entire hemisphere. Now, if I have another surface which is just in the perpendicular in this way, none of the radiation will reach here, because the projection of this surface J, so this ith surface and this is jth surface. So the projection of jth surface on this joining line is 0. So all the radiations will pass without intercepting in the surface. So the view factor is a quantity which says the fraction of radiation from ith surface that reaches jth surface. So fraction of radiation from ith surface that reaches jth surface, that is called view factor. Why it's called view factor? Because if you can view something, that means the visual radiation is coming from there to your eye, right? So that location, some radiation is coming. So that is why it's called view factor. The fraction of radiation that is radiated by ith surface that reaches jth surface. So probably we need to progress a little bit, then it will be clearer. So our goal will be to obtain view factor between a pair of surfaces. So suppose I take a small disk and a large disk. So what fraction of radiation from the small disk you think will reach the large disk? So any guess? I'm not, of course, I'm not looking for a number. So any guess? 100%, 30%, 40%, 0%?
100%.
100%. Okay. Any other guess?
Definitely not 100%.
Not 100%. Okay. Any other guess?
Sir, from which disk to which disk?
from this disk to this disk. So this is I, this is J. So view factor is given by Fij. So fraction of radiation leaving surface I, that is intercepted by surface J. So gauge value of Fij. So I have heard 0%, 100%, and not 100%.
Sir, it will be 100%, I guess, as it depends on theta.
It depends. It will be or will not be. So what you are
It
saying?
will be 100% as it depends on theta.
It
The
will
theta
be
between
100%,
the-
but that will be depending on theta.
theta between the two disks.
Okay. Any other ideas?
So it will not be 100% because a fraction of the radiation will not reach that disk because it is dependent on theta, and like there is some area which is not being covered by the hemispherical area. I mean,
Sir, it
Exactly.
if
Now,
we
So-
create a hemisphere about
Yeah.
it, then
go ahead, tell me. Yeah, I'm seeing the ideas coming. See, this is a small surface, small or large doesn't matter. So it will radiate. It will radiate in its hemisphere. Okay. So you see that part of the radiation will go from here, and part goes from here. So now we have intuitively can see that part of the radiation will not be intercepted by this big circle unless it's really too big and the gap is close to zero. Otherwise, a small part of the radiation, however small or whatever, small, large, whatever, but that depends also on the distance. So my purpose of asking this question is to run these things in your mind that yes, it depends on various factors, and it's not necessarily that some small thing will always give everything to a big thing. So the bigger one, of course, it will give even smaller fraction. So now the question is that how we get this fraction. So any comment, additional comment on this 0, 100%, not 100%?
We get it by solid angle. Like
Huh?
for it is hemisphere, so we get it by the solid angle divided.
yes, so
by
we can get it by solid angle divided by pi.
Yeah, you get it by solid angle, exactly. So we have to do it between two differential areas and then integrate over the entire area. For example, if we have two discs like this, we have to take a differential area somewhere here and another differential area somewhere here and find out the view factor between them, and then we integrate over this entire small disk and large disk, and we'll get the view factor between these two disks. So that is the strategy for obtaining view factor. So first thing we ask here, so let me also pull the diagram from here. Okay, so these are the two differential areas, DAI and DAJ. Both are joined by the line. The length of the line is R. And if I draw a normal to surface J, it gives NJ. If I draw normal to surface I, it gives NI. The angle between Ni, and the line joining two surfaces is theta I. Angle between Nj and line joining two surfaces is theta j. Okay. Clear? So now the quantity dq I to j is the amount of energy that left I and intercepted by left dI, dAI and intercepted by dAg. So the energy will be, the intensity is I E plus R, because there will be emitted as well as reflected. So that is called, what is this quantity called? Emitted and reflected together?
Radiosity.
Radiosity. Okay. So the radiosity of ith surface and then I'm just trying to see that why I have this I separate and J separate. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Clear. Okay. So I E plus R. So that is the intensity. That's the intensive quantity. So since we have dAI is the area and dAI cos theta I, because this is per unit of projected area in this direction. So first let us think of a hemisphere here. This surface is not on the hemisphere surface, by the way. So if this is the hemispherical surface, this surface is arbitrarily oriented. So this may be oriented like this. So first let us see that how much of this is going on the hemispherical surface projection of this. So this hemispherical surface, so that is d omega I. We just ignore d lambda because say we can think of a certain lambda. So this much is the radiation energy that falls on this projected area. Agreed? I'll make slow progress here because this is a confusing steps. This is not confusing steps. If I just move quickly, there will be confusing steps. So this step is clear. dQij is just the definition. As we said that the intensive quantity so is make extensive by multiplying by d lambda d omega I dAI cos theta I. Cos theta is the direction of this direction where we are seeking the energy, seeking the amount of energy radiated and intercepted. And this is on the hemispherical area. So this is the surface. And if I take a hemisphere, take a solid angle d omega I, and on the hemispherical surface, this will be the energy intercepted in the theta direction. This is theta, this is d omega I, this is dAI. So if you studied for today's test, then this should be clear to you. So anyone has any question on this? And I will not consider omega because we are considering a particular omega. It doesn't matter. So since we are getting a geometric quantity, so we need not to make ourselves troubled with omega. So dq.
Can you explain that dAI cos theta I part again?
Okay. So let us look at the definition of the intensity. As I said that the intensity, how you get this intensity? Intensity is an intensive quantity. So we argued that what are the things in which this amount of energy you observe or you collect will increase to what variables. So we make a list. So one of them was d omega solid angle. If you increase the solid angle, it will increase. Second one is the area of this surface. But this area of this surface is not something which will increase your observed energy, because if you are here, you will observe nothing even though you increase the area. So then we said that no, area is not what matters. What matters is the projection of this area in the direction of the observer. So then we said that not dA is not something which we should worry about, dA cos theta, because here dA cos theta will be 90, cos 90 will be 0, so the projected area which will matter. So apart from omega, apart from lambda, these two are the things in which this intercepted energy will increase. So this is intensive in these two things. So I dA cos theta I d omega will give us the total amount of energy intercepted. It is little hard at this point if you do not went through the previous lessons. That's why, that's the sole reason for calling a test today. So, but still you try to resolve it by understanding the I is per unit projected area per unit solid angle. Clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Anyone has any other question? This step has to be clear.
Sir, why we dropped the term d lambda?
You can, but because we are talking about this directional things, so area and direction, these two are important for us. If I put d lambda, so we just put some d lambda here, some d lambda here. Okay. So this d lambda will stay for us because we will not integrate it in any of these lambda. So that's why we didn't include d lambda here. If that gives you a little bit of clearer understanding, keep it and cancel it later.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So again, for the last time, let me state that IER is the energy that radiated per unit projected area per unit solid angle. So when I write dAI cos theta times, so that I get for a given area, projected area, and for a given solid angle, this much energy I receive. Now let me dissect little bit on this d omega I. So this is d omega I, and my area might be oriented like this. And this is the surface of the hemisphere. And this is the angle theta j. So we'll see that this much area here that I am shading is AJ cos theta j. So shaded area all right, and d omega equals to shaded area divided by, this is given by R, by R square. So dQij equals to IE plus RI dAI cos theta I instead of d omega I'll write this age. No, it's not aj, it's daj. It's daj cos theta j divided by r square. All right. Now, a small thing need to be done. We'll write it in terms of radiosity. This is not radiosity. This is the emitted and reflected intensity. It's integrated and gives us radiosity. So let me just show you that expression. Or rather, this is radiosity, but we are writing in terms of total radiosity. So I mean, this is the intensity, radiosity intensity, and the total radiosity is the integration over all lambda. So now say let us write it d lambda and then integrate. So I think that will be easier. So if we write here d lambda rather not go to that in that. So let me show you a relation directly and then we can do this. So in this stage, we'll use a relation which we partly discussed in our previous class, but I don't remember whether I showed you details. So that's why I show you from your textbook. This is not any big thing, just the hemispherical integration. So let me pull that. So let me again put a screen. So now we'll replace this with the quantity J. So there will be a factor coming. That's why I'll show you some previous class stuff. So this is the spectral radiosity. That is the radiosity intensity integrated over the hemisphere. And now if I integrate over this thing. Okay. This is the definition of radiosity. Now we assume that for our case, we have a diffused reflector and radiator. Diffuse reflector and emitter. So we assume so diffuse reflector or emitter means that this radiator, this radiosity intensity that can come out of this integral, and that gives us a simplification that this I lambda ER equals to J lambda lambda divided by pi. I think part of this I have shown. I don't remember exactly the entire thing I have shown or not. So this is the thing that we'll replace here, because J is something which we can we have the values, that is the integrated integration over lambda theta, and it can also be integrated over it's integrated over theta phi and also can be integrated over lambda. So the overall integrated quantity we'll use in terms of this our view factor. So we can also write that I ER equals to J J lambda. Okay, this is let us not go into that. So keep it here. Okay, so now with that replacement, this will be dq so dq, so this will be J if it's lambda, so then lambda, if it integrated over the entire lambda, we have this J lambda here, we have integrated J lambda divided by pi times dAI dAj, something jumbled up here. So let me write it cleanly, because when I moved this up and down things, got jumbled up. First we wrote dqij projected area d omega, solid angle. Then wrote dAI, d omega we have written cos theta j dAj divided by r square. Then we wrote in terms of radiosity j divided by pi cos theta I dAI cos theta j dAj over r square. Don't worry about lambda at this moment. As you deal with this expression, you will know that this whether you write lambda or doesn't matter. So then, because it's a ratio, so if you take lambda, it will be ratio again same. And then we integrate Qij equals to J comes out, because surface we also assume. So let me put it here initially. So we integrate over the AI and AJ, J cos theta I cos theta J, DAI DAJ over pi r square. Okay. So now we additionally this we assumed already diffuse reflector and emitter of uniform radiosity. Then J is not a function of the area, so J comes out. So J over pi AJ AI cos theta I cos theta J DAI DAJ over R square. So this is the total amount of energy that goes from surface I to surface J. So I wanted many things to stay on the same screen. That's why so much of trouble occurring. Okay. So just read all these steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. So we get this Qij, that is the amount of radiation that leaves from I and reaches J. You may have some confusion regarding lambda. Just imagine that there is no lambda dependence and the radiation that we are talking about entirely of a given lambda. So no spectral distribution. Then there is no d lambda anywhere. So the view factor will be same whether you are if there is lambda distribution is there or not. View factor will not be anything to do with that because it's a geometric quantity. So that I think that will ease the problem of thinking in terms of lambda. And replacing I E plus R by J. So you can use this expression that the relation that what is J and diffuse reflector and emitter means that this comes out of the integral. So J and IER are related by this thing. So now everything on the screen, just think clearly, and if you have any confusion in certain stage, just ask me.
So while taking the projected area, like we have to take the projected area of the surface which is receiving the energy always.
Yes. In both cases we have projected area. So one case the projected area because the intensity defined as per unit projected area. Here I need this projected area. Here I need this projected area because this intensity is defined as per unit of projected area. For reason I explained here. Because you don't see anything here, no intensity is seen here, and maximum intensity is seen here. So that is this reason for this projected area. And this d omega is also projected area because if the surface is not having any projected area on the hemispherical surface, here the hemisphere, then also there will be no d omega. So that is the reason for using these two projected areas. It's clear now? If not, you can't test that. So don't worry about that.
Projected area of
Huh?
projected area of the surface which is receiving the energy.
Yes, both cases. The projected area of the surface which is emitting, as well as projected area of the surface which is receiving, both in two different ways. So the projected area of the emitting surface in the direction of the line joining these two surfaces. And in another case, the projected area of the receiving surface on the surface of the hemisphere.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, if it's not having any projected area on the hemisphere, it cannot subtend any solid angle.
Yes, sir.
So in this expression, capital J is total radiosity, or is it
So it's
J
total-
lambda?
It's total radiosity.
Okay.
So actually it doesn't matter, because if you think of this as a geometric quantity, so or even if you can think of the top example. So suppose this surface is radiating a given lambda. So this geometric quantity doesn't matter at which lambda it emits and at which lambda it sees. Because the fraction of radiation that will leave this surface and reach this surface is completely geometrical. So that's why to derive this view factor, we can think of the radiation that is coming after single lambda. And remove all lambda dependence. So you can take J as total radiosity.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this Q is the amount of energy that is emitted by I and received by J. Now our view factor is the fraction of the energy that is fraction of total energy, right? The fraction of total energy, that is this this area is AI will be emitting. This is AI times J, right? So then Fij equals to this Qij divided by AI times J. So that's why you see that J cancels out. So then we have J by 1 by AI J times J by pi times this integration. Now you see that whether you had you taken a certain lambda, then also this will take, you have to take this also a certain lambda. If you have multiplied by d lambda, you have to multiply this by d lambda. So that's how these things will cancel. So ultimately we are left with 1 over AI pi and cos theta I cos theta j dAI dAj over r square. This is the fraction of radiation that is emitted by surface I and intercepted by surface J. So his expression for Fij is clear.
Sir, wouldn't J also vary with the area? Wouldn't J also vary with the area? How can we take that out of the integral?
No, J is not varying with area. That's why we took an assumption of uniform radiosity. That's how we pull it out under this assumption. So the assumptions here are uniform radiosity, diffuse, reflector, and emitter. If it's not uniform, we cannot pull it out. And life will be much more harder. So uniform radiosity, we pull it out. All right, clear?
So what
Yes,
would
sir.
happen if ith part is like a point? point material?
0. That's why we have this dA, right? So a point cannot radiate any energy because it doesn't have any area.
Okay, sir.
Any other question?
So like won't the area of I mean DAJ also affect the Fij, because like more will be the DAJ, the viewer will be able to see less.
Yes.
So
So
wouldn't there be a 1 by AJ term also?
no. AJ will come as integration. You see that's how it came. So there will be no 1 by AJ here. Because this is the fraction of energy, Qij is the fraction of energy that is leaving I and reaching J. And this is the total energy that I emitted.
Yes, I got it.
Okay. So little bit of cleanup here is required. So normally people take the pi inside. So you see that Fij equals to 1 by Ai, and the expression inside this integral is completely symmetric. So that's why we can write Ai Fij equals to Aj Fji. This is an extremely important relation. Even if you don't understand any of the derivation, all you need to know for solving problem is the expression for Fij, or even you don't need that. All you need this view factor algebra, you need this expression Ai Fij equals to Aj Fji. Any other relation you can think of? And tell me any other relation we can write for Fij?
No, sir.
What should I write here? So suppose this surface, there are multiple surfaces. So suppose this is surface 1, a rectangle, and there are certain other surface forming an enclosure.
1.
Right, because it's a fraction of energy received by jth surface, and if all the jth surfaces forming an enclosure, if the energy emitted will be intercepted by some of the surfaces. Okay, so these two are extremely important quantities. Okay, so now we have 5 minutes break. It's 12:16 in my clock here. So we have 5 minutes break, and you can ask questions in the break. And by the time I can prepare the test. Test is merely 10 minutes test, not much. So I have the test prepared. I just need to share it.
So here Qij will be equal to Qji, na? Like because
no, Qij will not be Qji.
So but the terms in the expression we wrote for Qij, the terms all are same as if we consider for Qji, like j cos theta I cos theta j d ai d aj.
So I forgot something here. So it should be Ji. Ji. Because the radiosity of surface I and surface J may have different radiosity.
Okay, yes, sir.
Sir, will the test be objective or subjective?
You'll see in a moment. You see, you can see the radiation quiz.
Sir, the quiz is visible, but for the third, fourth, and fifth questions, the options are not given.
Yes, sir. Like it's just
Like it's
given.
only written as option 1, option 2, and option 3.
Yes, sir.
Oops. It didn't save, so. And also it's what happened is that I made a lot of changes yesterday and somehow these changes are all gone. And I need not to save, right? It's all, it should be automatically saved. There is no way you can save it. Just let me discard it. What happened? Let's delete that. Go to my forms. I don't respond to it now. It is strange. I have only one account. Okay, so we have to wait for the next class for this quiz. Okay, let us scrap it now. Don't respond to that. So I have to find out where it's gone, but I know how to find. So I edited this form here itself. There's only one radiation quiz. So I never seen such thing. I edited it and it's gone now. Anyway, so I'm sorry for those guys who just came to the class only for this quiz. So others were fine. So others, please go to Teams and or everyone. So please go to Teams and now download this tutorial 1, radiation tutorial. Okay. So I hope you can you can download radiation tutorial and it's in good shape.
Yes, sir, we can see the tutorial.
Okay, great. Now, problem number 1 you already solved. And what is problem number 2 there?
Sir, it's obtain the view factor between two lines of length Li and Lj forming an elbow at 90 degree.
Okay, good. So you see that this is what we talked about is a three-dimensional, two different surfaces in three-dimensional, talking about solid angle. But you will see that this integration are not so easy. So that's why given a two-dimensional problem where you need to find out the view factor between two-dimensional bodies. That means two lines. So view factor between two lines. This is Li, this is Lj, and what is the view factor? So follow the same methodology. See, learning the fundamentals is that you can extend it to any way you like. So I hope you learned this. What is the fundamental way of looking at this view factor? So now let us see that how you can obtain the view factor for this Fij, for these two lines. First step for solving any problem is to make a plan. So anyone who has a plan, just take 5 minutes, few minutes, not 5 minutes, just 2-3 minutes. Try to think of a plan. That 3D case, this is what is shown, and 2D case, what I will do. And then I will ask you your plan. And once you zero on the plan, then you execute your plan. Do not rush to execute your plan. Anyone who is ready with plan can tell me your plan.
Sir, in this question, wouldn't we need the radius of the two horizontal, the two rods?
What you're saying?
So wouldn't we need the radius of these two rods, L1 and L2, Li and Lj?
No, these are not rods. These are just two lines. Okay. So these are two lines. Suppose this line is radiating energy. So this line is radiating energy. So it's radiating energy in all surface, all directions. So what percentage or what fraction of these radiations will be intercepted by this line? You can intuitively see that the shorter this line is, smaller the fraction will be.
Sir, are we just considering it to be two-dimensional?
Yes.
And is the length of the lines infinite?
No.
So then we can find the area, like the energy received by going on the line L1 and taking a section of dx and then finding the theta till the maximum angle, like till Lj ka end.
Okay. So first plan is that instead of taking differential areas, you need to take differential lengths. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So even before, zeroth plan is that the formula given cannot be used directly. So that is zeroth plan. So some modification in the formula for Fij is needed. So this formula this formula for Fij, this cannot be used directly because this is for 3D. You need some modification to that for this 2D. So first part of the plan is that take differential lengths. Say this is 0, 0. So this is small li, dli, another area, small lj, dlj. Okay, agreed?
So we don't need to consider that DLJ part because in the integration part, I mean, I was saying that like we can calculate the angle between DLI and LJ because it's going to be just one dimensional, and then with the help of that angle theta, we can like determine the answer.
No, that cannot be done. That cannot be done. So because different portions of this will have different angle and it may have different energy received. So it's, and also their distance will be different. So
yes, so everything will be accounted in theta, right?
Everything will be accounted in theta means.
So you said that the distance, the length, the Li will be different, and
not Li, depending on this location of this small length, this length
the energy
points will be different.
Yeah, but sir, like in the end, we just have to find the view factor.
Yes.
So the view factor would be like we have like the conditions that we had said that the energy distributed by each point is uniform.
Mm-hmm. So no, energy not received. Energy emitted.
Yeah, energy emitted from each point is uniform. So like taking that into consideration, we can find the view factor without doing the integration. I mean, it's simply ignoring the integration of the LJ part. I mean, it will turn, I mean, instead of integrating it, I'm just saying that the answer will come directly by considering it to be proportional to theta. Like the integration will also give that answer.
Yes. So whether integration, without integration, whether you land up in the same thing or not, I do not know. So my plan will be to stick to the same methodology and just translate it into a two-dimensional case. So that will be my plan. So
E plus R equal to Ji by pi for this case as well.
Huh?
Is IE plus R, is the intensity equal to total radiosity by pi in for this one case also?
No. It will not be. So let us do it in this way. So let us do it. So we'll follow the same. The plan is that we'll follow the same methodology here. So since we are talking about a two-dimensional case, and already we have seen that there is no point worrying about lambda. So let us not worry about lambda, and let us say that I E plus R I. So that is again the intensity that you see in any location here will be dependent on the projection of this length. And this is per unit length, per unit of this projection length. So I have to write DL cos. So this is theta I. This is theta j. So DL cos theta I. And now this is dependent on the, instead of solid angle, now this is planar angle. So I am not able to draw it properly on that because that's on the left hand side. So if some surface is here, So this is d phi. So that will be d phi j. That is, or we can, if d phi j means the area length j that subtends that angle on I. So d phi j. Agreed? So that is our dq I to j. So do you agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So some small correction here. So this is on this plane. So now again, so if this is Li, so this Li has to be projected here. So this is, now we have to get this d phi j. Now d phi j is no more a solid angle. So the relation between this angle and this projection of dlj is dlj cos theta j. That is the arc divided by r equals to d phi j. Agreed? Okay. So now we have Ij equals to IE plus R from ith surface dLi cos theta I dLj cos theta j divided by R. Done? Okay. So we need not to use any radiosity, total radiosity or something here. We can say that simply because this is a line, we can say this is the intensity that is coming from here, and we can call it uniform intensity. Again, everywhere it's same. So we say dq, or rather qij
Sir, d phi j is which angle?
which one? D phi j.
J. So can you show it in the diagram?
Yes, yes. Better to show it here. I have drawn these on the wrong side, left side. Left side, my drawing is horrible. So now all angles are clear?
Yes, sir.
So phi j I have written. So qij equals to, we integrate it over line 1 and line 2. And if IEI is uniform everywhere, I pull it outside. IE plus R I, and then you write cos theta I, cos theta j, dli, dlj over R. And total energy that is radiated is intensity times the length. So Fij equals to IE plus R this integral thing. So again, that this cancels. So 1 by Li. Actually, it's Li Lj integrated over Li integrated over Lj cos theta I cos theta j dli dlj divided by R. Okay, just instead of R square, we have R. There is no pi, and 1 by Li.
Sir, do we substitute anything in terms of L in place of R, since R won't be a constant? So how will we integrate if we won't substitute any?
You have to substitute cos theta I, cos theta j, and R in terms of Li and Lj.
So, sir, for the initial R, it will be under root Lj square plus Li square.
Yeah, R will be square root of Li square. So let us integrate it. So let us integrate it. So R equals to square root of small Li square plus Lj square. Okay. And what is cos theta I times cos theta j instead of Li Lj?
Lij divided by Li square plus Lj square.
So if you just look at this triangle, you will know that this is cos theta I is Li divided by this, and cos theta I equals to Lj divided by this. So this is Li times Lj divided by this product of this square root will be go. So the Li square plus Lj square. So your double integration is now. So your double integration is equals to 1 over Li. So 0 to Li, 0 to Lj, Li Lj, dli dlj divided by Li square plus Lj square to the power 3 by 2. So you can solve this one. This is easy, this is not difficult. So it's easy to solve. So just take Li square. So just you can take it like this. So before we go to solution to this, so is this integration clear? So how we just form this integration?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
So replacing cos theta I, replacing cos theta j and R. So it's easier to if I write it by 0 to Li, 0 to Lj, xy, dx, dy. So this becomes z dz divided by z cube z square. So if you integrate it, minus 1 over z. So it becomes, so when z equals, or when y equals to 0, z equals to x. So z equals to x2, z equals to x square plus lj square square. So this becomes 1 by x minus 1 by square. So again is multiplied by x dx 0 to li, 0 to li. So x cancels. So this becomes li minus integration of 0 to li x dx by so this becomes li minus, so again x square plus lj square equals to t square. So x dx equals to t dt, and this is t, so just this becomes dt, that means t. When 0 means x0 means t equals to li, to when it's li, yes, square root of li square plus lj square. So it becomes, this will be li, so this will be lj. So this will be lj minus square root of li square plus lj square. So this becomes li minus lj minus square root of li square plus lj square. And so f12, fij will be 1 by li minus lj minus 1 by li square root of li square plus lj square. Something is wrong, it probably will be plus, or this will be minus, something like that. But all I want to show is that you can do this integration yourself in hand without any help. So this is a two-dimensional view factor integral. So I don't think you have any question in solving this integral. It's just a little bit of donkey work, nothing much. So this is how you get the view factor. Now, if you want to do, we still have some 10 minutes time. So if you want to do this view factor integral for 3D, so let us find out what will be the integration. So I want you to write down this integration till this step. Do not integrate. So let us go back to our first one. Any question anyway? So I don't think you have any question, but still I can stop here. You can ask question and then we can move for this.
So the solution that I had said that we could use, why can't we use that one?
I couldn't understand exactly what way we are talking. So which solution you are saying that you will take only differential element here and take the entire thing here.
Yes, sir. I was saying that we could integrate the energy received by the rod in one go, like for every differential element.
But the energy received will be dependent on many things. For example, if you have some emitted energy, so what will be the angle? What will be the projection of that? So there will not be a single projection, single angle, single distance.
Sir, pardon?
So if I take the entire this LJ,
yes,
there will be not be a single distance. There will not be a single angle. So that is the trouble, no? Because it depends on the angle, depends on the distance.
Sir, I was saying that like the radiosity is uniform, like in for every theta and every lambda. So what I was saying that what we could do is that a differential element dx will radiate 1 upon pi and 1 upon pi into Li of energy per unit radian per unit length. From that, that specific energy is being radiated only in pi angle, like the hemisphere, like the hemicircle. So from that theta we can calculate like that
See,
angle
independent, but it will not be distance independent.
So distance independent in which sense?
See, suppose if I see this, if it's angle independent, if I draw a hemisphere here,
yes.
So it will, if it's distant, it may be uniform over the entire hemisphere. But as I go into a different radius, the energy intercepted will be different.
So the energy intercepted will not change now.
See, it cannot be uniform for all circles, because as you go away from the center, it will be fainter and fainter.
So, but we are considering the energy received for an angle theta.
That will be same.
Yeah,
see,
so we are considering that only.
Say number of quanta that goes here, so that will be same, because that will not escape anywhere. But it will not be same for the entire length of this.
So what I'm saying is that the energy radiated for every theta is same, for every d theta is same. So we can just consider that the theta in which the energy is radiated, the energy received by the rod will be proportional to the theta subtended.
Yes, so that's what we have to take a differential one. So maybe I'm not seeing what you are saying, and maybe for particular case it may be applicable. But I believe that in general we have to take two differential areas. So maybe we can have a one-to-one discussion beyond this class, and then we see that what exact point you are making.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's your name?
Devesh. Devesh.
Devesh. Okay, all right. I'll make a note, and we can discuss one-to-one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but in general, we take differential areas and integrate it over the bodies to get the view factor. So now, so it will be the getting view factor for three-dimensional bodies is will be extensively difficult. So I don't want to go to that today. So next week we'll do that. But we'll never try to get the view factor by integrating. So our goal will be to get some of the view factors that are available in the books and tables and charts, and many books they work solely on view factor geometry, view factor algebra. So those are available in textbook. Your textbook also those are available. So we'll read those view factors from those tables, charts, etc. I just showed you one particular case so that you know that how to calculate it even for the simplest case. But we'll, for complicated cases, we'll read those. And we'll do one another three-dimensional case until the point of integration, just a small one, and then we'll do the other problems from our tutorial in the next week. Hopefully, we'll be done with the next week, and then we'll have our radiation test. The radiation quiz is just a small portion, so somehow that I don't know how it's got erased because these are automatically saved, I think. So our radiation test, the 1 hour test will be on April 9th. Just make a note of it. I will send an announcement soon. There will be another assignment for radiation and test on 9th. The assignment will be due on 9th. Assignment will receive also by next week. And you have to submit it by 9th. If there is a 1 week gap, there is some holiday in between. So you get 2 weeks to complete the assignment, prepare for the test, and appear for the test on 9th. So small portion of radiation is left. We will complete by next class. Okay. Any concern, question, please feel free to ask. The class ended, and I am okay. Those who came only for exam, they are already gone. So I don't have to feel sorry for anyone. So good. So class ended. So if you have any question, feel free to ask. If you don't have any question, feel free to leave.